Hello, it's Pete. Okay, what I want to do today then is just have a quick look at creating and working with Gmail. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a Gmail account from scratch. We're then going to have a quick look at at what the screen looks like. We're going to then send an email or compose an email and have a look at some of the options in there that allow us to attach files, attach images, insert images, and generally things of that nature. Okay, here I am inside of Internet Explorer. Now in Internet Explorer, what we've got at the top here, because Google's my page that I'm on, I can see where it says plus you, Gmail and images. Now it says plus you because I haven't created my email account yet. So if I want to create an email account, then I've got various options. So here I've got Gmail, I've got images, I've got my various other bits and pieces here, my apps. So what I want to do is to click onto Gmail to start. And then I'm going to add an account. Create an account would allow me to go away here to create my account. Now the first thing it's going to ask me is to fill in this form. Now it's not a particularly long form, but we'll just talk you through the various stages. The first thing it wants is my name, first name and last name, so Pete Reed. It then wants me to type in a username for this account. Now the username must be unique. Now normally I would suggest to people that they use their own name as a foundation. However, if you've got a particularly common name, then it may find that it's very difficult and you finish up with lots of numbers and things of that nature after your email address. So by all means be imaginative and come up with something reasonably sensible. However, do remember that you may well be sharing your email address with various people at various times. So if you finish up with an email address called purplefairy21, then it may not be the one that you really want to share with your bank manager. Okay, so you can use letters, numbers and periods. So let's go for Monday 19th of Jan, 19 Jan, and then create a password. Now it's happily accepted Monday 19th of Jan because nobody else has got that email address. If anybody had got it, then it would have rejected it. I now need to create a character. It should be 8 characters in create a password, 8 characters in length. You shouldn't use something that's already been used or too obvious. And again, it's nice to mix in, have a mix of old and new, uppercase, lowercase, alphabet, numbers, all sorts of things like that. Now, one of the hints that I say to people is that sometimes when you're first setting up an account, it's an idea to choose something that is very memorable. Now, if you've actually got something and you've moved around a lot, then something like the first line of your first ever address can be quite a useful password. So that's what I'm going to go for, because that gives me a fairly long but secure password, because not many people will know exactly which where I was brought up, what was my first home address and things of that nature. And also the fact is that nobody will know that that's what I've chosen to use anyway. So it gives me a complex address. I can then enter my date of birth. Now, entering a date of birth allows Google to verify your age, but it also means that it's subsequently, if you forget your password, then they can ask you what your date of birth is, and if you can tell them, then they'll actually help you to get back in. So if you make up a date of birth, it may not help you in the long run. In the same manner, if I enter my mobile number, then that would also help me to get back in, because if I lost my password or I wanted them to make sure that my account was secure, then they could send me an email, a text message to my mobile phone, so I could verify I am who I say I am. Now I'm creating this as a video, so therefore I'm not going to put my mobile in there. I can enter a current email address, ask Pete a question at gmail.com. Set Google my home page. Google is my home page, and here I can actually type in what I see in that picture, 145. I can agree to the policy, Google terms and conditions, and make sure my location is set to the United Kingdom, and then click on the next step. So here we are. what it's going to do is we just need to verify account before we can start using it. So it's now going to ask me for me to send a text message or a voice call. Now, what I don't want to do is necessarily to share this over the web. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the process. Now what's it going to be under GB, do you think? Great Britain or United Kingdom? There we go, United Kingdom. So I can click onto there. Then I would type my number into here, and then that would actually get me going. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause. And once I've entered my mobile number, it then comes back and asks me to verify it. Now my phone has just beeped, and it gives me my Google verification code 520815. Now that will be different every time you get it, so I can then just click on continue. And there it is, I can go in here. The next step is where it says, would I like to add a photo? Well, again, I can create a photograph. I can add a photograph, and that would help people to recognize me. But at this point, I'm just going to say no thanks. I don't particularly want to add one. So my new email address is monday19thjan@gmail.com. Thanks for creating it, so I can now continue to Gmail. So here I am into Google for the first time, into Gmail for the first time. So here it gives me a set of quick steps that will tell me a little bit about Google and about Gmail, and how we can actually stylize the inbox and various other bits and pieces, and how we can move Gmail onto any sort of device, and we can get ready for us to play. So let's go to Gmail. Okay, so this is the opening screen, and as you can see here, I've got various things. Across the top it says Google, and then here I've got a search box that would allow me to go and search through my Gmail if I wanted to actually search for a particular email from somebody. Here I've got my apps, so they're still available, and there I've got my account, so my Google account is now set up. Underneath here it says Gmail. If I click onto Gmail, it allows me to edit my contacts and my tasks. Here I've got the box that allows me to select all of my emails. So as you can see, it selected all of those. Now because I've selected them, I've then got other options that have come across here. And if I deselect those, there you go. That's where I can refresh my email list just in case I'm waiting for an email. And underneath here, I could mark them all as red so that I can actually see what's see what else is happening. Across this side, I can see I'm looking at 1 to 3 emails of 3 emails, so they're all visible at this display. Here, I've then got my input tools, so I can turn them on or off. So again, I've got English to Wojak, so I can choose what sort of a keyboard I'm using. So I could actually type by using this keyboard if I didn't want to use the keyboard on my laptop. Here I've then got the settings, and we'll have a look on here, and we can have a look at some of these in a little while. Down here, down this side, I can see my inbox. I've got 3 unread messages. I can see they're unread because that's red, and there's number 3. And here I've got the 3 emails. Now I've not opened any of these, so therefore they're all unread. If I wanted to have a look at one of those, I could click onto it, and now I can now see the various bits and pieces from the Gmail team, and notice how that has now gone down to 2. Clicking back on there would actually bring it back to here. Underneath there it says starred, and I could actually star or say that an email was to be important to me, and I've starred it. And now if I go and look at my starred emails, I can see the ones that I have starred. So that means that it gives you a way of, if you've got particular emails coming in that you want to deal with, you can just put a star against them, and that would actually mean that you could actually go and find them very quickly. Here I can see any sent mail, and there I can see drafts, and then there's more, which allows me to see all sorts of other bits and pieces. Okay, so what we said we wanted to do once we actually got in here was to be able to compose an email. So it's fairly straightforward. There's a word compose and I click on it. And here it gives me the option of creating an email. So if I want to send an email to Ask Pete a Question at gmail.com, then I can actually type it in there, and that has now been added to my two messages, and it will also have been added to my contacts. The next line down is where we can put a subject for our email, and so this is a test message because I've got no imagination at all. And then I'm down here. Now notice how that has actually become underlined in red, and as you can tell, that's because I can't spell. So by right clicking on the misspelling, it will make some suggestions as to what that should actually say, and it's corrected it. Okay, so I can say, Dear Pete, I have a question. Okay, so there we go. I've now created that, and then if I press return underneath there, I can come down here. Now that is looking pretty bland at the moment. So here I've got various options. So formatting options would allow me to do things such as highlight the word question, and I could actually make that huge. I have a question, yeah. Or indeed I could actually come onto here and just make it large. So again, I would highlight the text first, click onto here, and I could make it large. It's highlighted, make it normal, or indeed I could make it small. So again, I can actually choose how I would actually like that to look. I'm going to go for large, okay? Not only large, but I'm going to highlight the letter Q and make the letter Q bold. And can you see how the letter Q is now darker than the other characters because I've made it bold? And indeed I could make it bold, and I could put it into italics as well. In fact, hey, I could underline, so I can actually change all of these bits and pieces to make it work as I would like it to work. Here I'm going to highlight the word Pete, and then I've got this option here which allows me to play with the text color. So what I'm going to say is that I'm going to change the background color to purple. So as you can see, I've now changed Pete, so it's got a background color of purple. I've highlighted it again, and this time I'm going to give it a foreground color of green. So that is now green text on a purple background. Hey, decorating art, eat your heart out. Now here I've also got options such as the alignment. So if I wanted that paragraph to be in the center, I could just click on center and it would turn it onto the center. And I can click on the left, or I could click on the right. Now on the whole, I would advise people to keep everything against the left-hand edge because it makes it easier to read. We've then got a couple of additional options here. One allows us to actually have numbered lists. So we've got numbered lists, we've got unordered lists or bulleted lists. We've then got an outdent, and we've got an indent. So let's have a look at those. So if I highlight these paragraphs here, I could make them into numbered paragraphs. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the nice thing about a numbered paragraph is it suggests that there is a sequence to them. However, there isn't really a sequence to these, except they just happen to be that way on the board here. So I'm just going to highlight them, and then I'm going to put them as bullet points. So that's an unordered list. So now as you can see, I've just clicked onto bullet points and they're now bulleted in that manner. Again, I'm just going to highlight that. And if I click on bullets again, then it's actually turned off the bullets. So now they've not got that formatting. Now, I think that outdent and indent should be indented a little bit. So I'm going to highlight the two paragraphs, and then I'm going to click on the indent button. You can see how they're actually moving across the screen. However, if I've moved them too far, then I can use the indent less or outdent to take them back to the edge of the page. Okay, so these are the key buttons that I would tend to use. The other one that I do tend to use a lot is remove formatting, because remove formatting would allow me to get rid of anything that I've been playing with on the page. So there we go, Dear Pete, I have a question, numbered list, unordered list, outdent, indent. So I can play about with these. And indeed I can still continue to play about by changing the editing, deleting spaces. Oops, I've got my caps lock on. So I can delete spaces and generally play about to get everything as I would like it to be. Okay, so all very straightforward, no problems at all. Okay, the next thing I would like to do is to be able to insert an attachment. So I click on attachment, and attach would allow me to attach an image. So I'm going to attach a cup of tea. So there we go, I've now got the file cuppa.jpg attached onto this email. So when I send it, it will be there as an attachment. However, if I wanted to insert an image, then I've got the little picture of a camera. So I can click onto my camera, choose a photo to insert. I'm going to choose this picture of Henry the dog. And there it is, it's now being inserted into the picture, into my email. So there's Henry sat with his headphones on, all ready to go. And then the other options that I've got on here are insert a link. So I could click on there to insert a link. So I could insert a link to www.askpeteaquestion.co.uk. Yeah, and I could say link this to go to my development site. Oops. And OK. Now, as you can see, what we've actually got now in here is go to my development site, and it's actually looks like a link. So everything is actually ready in place. The next one across there is insert an emoticon. So if I just move up here, so if I put my cursor there, I can click onto there, and if I wanted to, I could actually insert one of these faces. So there we go, I've now inserted a face. Gosh, how wonderful. To send the email, all I would do then is click on send. Now that email has now been sent across to Ask Pete a Question. Now I seem to remember that I've actually got that account somewhere. So let me just open my Gmail account, It's loading askpeteaquestion@gmail.com. Let's go back to my inbox. No, it's not arrived here yet, so let me just refresh that page. No, okay, so what we'll do is we will just wait a moment. Okay, so I've come over to my Ask Pete a Question account, and here, as you can see, I've now got an email. And when I open the email, it's got go to my development site, which would take me off to the website. Dear Pete, I have a question. Numbered list, unordered list, outdent, indent, picture of a dog. And here at the bottom here, I've got an attachment that I could download, or I could save it to my Google Drive. Okay, so there we've got the way in which we can actually create ourselves emails and various other bits and pieces. Now the final thing I just want to share before we finish is some of the other options that's inside of settings. Now inside of settings I've got display density. So as you can see at the moment this is set as comfortable. If I change it to compact, can you see how that has actually all squeezed that up together? So if you get a lot of emails, then you may want it to go into compact. Cozy is not quite as compact as compact, and comfortable gives again a little bit more spacing. So it depends how you feel about those. What we've also got here is some settings. Now here we've actually got various things that we can actually look at. So Gmail display language, it's got English US. I'm going to change that to English UK because I prefer to be in the UK. It tells me what formatting I've got available. It tells me about my default style. So if I wanted to change what the default style was of my text, then for example, it could be that I prefer to use Verdana, and I would actually like my text to be large by default. So I can change it in there. So I can again come down here, and here I've got a signature. Now what this signature allows me to do is to put underneath here the message that I want to be underneath all of my emails. So best wishes, Pete Reed. And then I can just come down to the bottom and save my changes. Now what that means, once we get back here, is that if I now compose an email, it's automatically saying best wishes Pete Reed underneath here. So again, that can actually help me to save a little bit of time. Okay, I'm just going to discard that draft because I don't particularly want it. But there we go. We've now had a brief tour of Gmail. So finally, what I just want to do is just to share with you that if you've got any questions, by all means, drop me an email. My email address is askpeterquestion@gmail.com. I am on Google Plus at +PJReed on Google Plus, or indeed you can find me on Twitter at IICTPete. Hope to chat to you soon. Thank you very much. Good day.